In what comes as an official announcement from Iran, the country has announced total ceasefire as far as the conflict against Israel is concerned. This comes hours after US President Donald Trump has announced on his Twitter handle that both these two countries will be announcing ceasefire in 6 hours from now. Hello and welcome to the Federal. You're watching our special live on Israel-Iran conflict, and joining me to explain more on Israel-Iran conflict is our consulting editor, Dakshin Murthy. Dakshin, welcome. My first reaction, or rather your first reaction on this announcement by Iran.
The ceasefire, of course, number one, is a big relief because there were a lot of fears that the situation was going out of hand. The entry of the United States had worried a lot of people. It was very concerning because from there, because this was not though it was on the card, it was really, nobody really believed that the US would actually do it. Now that Trump went ahead and did it, it caused a lot of uncertainty around the world. So to that extent, I think it's definitely a welcome move. Peace is always a welcome move. So from that point of view, it's a good development.
Right. I would like to just read out what Donald Trump actually tweeted. So congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have put down and completed their in progress final missions. So, talking about Donald Trump's tweet, and also, like you said, it's a welcome move. Definitely, it's a welcome move. But also, you would like to keep into mind as to intervention by US. So, moving forward, as of now, like we have seen right now, it is a ceasefire. But moving forward, do you sense any sort of escalations coming in, or maybe after this?
I don't see any immediate threat of an escalation because once the ceasefire has been declared, if you look at, say, each country, if you look at, let's take Israel, which started this whole thing of, first targeting Iran. Israel wanted to target the nuclear sites. They have done that. And so, their purpose is served. And according to the Israeli government officials and all that, so there is a severe setback for Iran, and it's going to take a long time for it to recover from this setback. So as far as Israel is concerned, its purpose is served. As far as the US is concerned, and Trump is particularly concerned, he wanted Iran to join him for talks, and Iran was complying with it, but as far as Trump was concerned, he wanted Israel to prevail over Iran. He wanted Iran to stop the counterattack. So as far as Trump is concerned, his purpose has been served too. It's only Iran that is really finally the victim of this entire conflict, because Iran is really now left with its nuclear program. I wouldn't call it in tatters, but definitely some kind of a damage has been done without a doubt. So, and Iran's response has been appreciated by people within their own country probably, but they have still not been able to put across the point that Israel or the US cannot get away with what they have done. So there was a symbolic kind of a counter, to the US move by firing missiles into Qatar. But that was more symbolic. I don't think Iran really meant to do anything, because Qatar is a very close ally of Iran. So there was all these kind of issues, and Iran also probably would need to sit back and then kind of mull over how to go forward. I'm sure they will do that. But in the immediate scene, right now, they would really be making an assessment of how to move forward following these events.
Talking about how to move forward, what do you think will be Iran's strategy? And also, USA will be keeping a very close eye, though ceasefire has been announced.
For one thing is very sure, Iran is not going to give up on its nuclear program. They have made it very clear, because they also have been insisting that it is for peaceful purposes. It is to generate electricity, etc. So, why would they want to give up on that? And Israel and Iran has been cooperative. They have allowed UN inspectors to visit their nuclear facility. So they have gone to a large extent. They have cooperated because they want the nuclear. They want to have the nuclear capability because they say they want to use it for peaceful purposes, and they're really far away from making a weapon, even as the International Atomic Energy Agency has concurred with Iran on this. But the point here is, uh, you know, will US and Israel keep quiet? Because Israel has a history of targeting countries and nuclear facilities in the region, which it feels, because it feels threatened by anyone else having a nuclear facility. And Israel and the US completely backs Israel. So US will do whatever Israel wants it to do. But Iran will not. One thing is very sure: Iran is not going to drop its nuclear program. It is going to continue with it, and it might be delayed, but eventually, I'm sure they will make all efforts to get what they want.
Right. Dakshin, I would like to just take you a little back. Around 5, 6 hours back, the announcement came from Donald Trump. Then an immediate reaction came from Iran that there is no ceasefire that has been, has been reached, and also they launched fresh missiles at Israel, killing 3 people as per reports. But at the same time, there was a tweet that was going on Twitter, claiming that there is no immediate ceasefire unless there is a stoppage from Israel as far as illegal aggression is concerned. So, taking your experience into this picture, can you just let us know as to what could have possibly happened between the information that was said that stop the illegal aggression and to now, by 5, 6 hours, possibly what could have been the scenario?
It's like two people are, when somebody is running and you suddenly want them to halt, they cannot immediately come to a halt at the same spot. They kind of slow
Yeah.
down and then come to a halt. It's something like that, because when the ceasefire was declared, Trump had already spoken to Israel, and Israel had
Mhm.
said yes, they would not go ahead with their missile strikes against Iran. But Iran also probably wanted to make sure that Israel meant what it said, and it also wanted to show its internal constituency, the people in Iran, that it is not waiting for a ceasefire, and it is still raring to go against Israel. So it's a posturing actually.
Mhm.
So it's more of a, again, a kind of a symbolism, and in politics these things matter. So the government did not want to immediately stop, so it would not look good for them on their CV. So so they just went ahead a little bit, and then they continued to attack, and Israel has not retaliated. So it obviously means that the ceasefire is in place. So even that satisfies both Iran, Israel, and Trump. So that's how it has happened.
Yeah, and Dakshin, it almost looks like that ceasefire has become Donald Trump's favorite word in the past 2 or 3 months or so. First, the claims with relation to Operation Sindoor between India and Pakistan, now between Israel and Iran. The White House has also confirmed, a tweet has come out that there is a complete ceasefire. How do you see this Donald Trump's image as far as being the mediator, or if one can say the person who actually calls out ceasefire for countries that possibly he has no relation or possibly speaking about?
Okay, I think you are probably referring to the his announcement of a ceasefire when Operation Sindoor was on, the conflict between India and Pakistan.
Yes.
And it eventually turned out that he was right. The ceasefire happened soon after that. What it basically goes to show is that wherever Trump has intervened, or the US has intervened, it does make a difference, because at the end of the day, it is a world's superpower, and what it
Yeah.
says matters. And in this specific case of Israel and Iran, Israel went ahead with its attack because it was very confident that Trump would back it. Okay, so and then they also, both the US and Israel had a common goal, which was to somehow damage Iran's nuclear prospects. So once this was done, and there is really, if you look at the alternative, let us assume that the ceasefire had not been called, nothing will be served, because there'll be firing of missiles up and down, and it will completely destabilize the region. And even Iran's own allies, like Qatar is a close ally of Iran. So they would be feeling very uncomfortable, and targeting Qatar, in the guise of a military base, it can also be very threatening to the rulers. So it could have affected Iran's relationship amongst its own fellow countries in the region. So Iran really gains nothing by firing missiles on on military bases or against Israel. So that is the reason why even Iran has cooperated, and Trump has proved that there is really nothing more to this. So what you can probably see next is some kind of some kind of a negotiation that happens, and Trump will want to seal this deal, in some ways, ensure that Iran doesn't really move ahead and continue with its program. So that part is still left. It will happen shortly. We'll see that.
Right, and also, do you see Trump's image also taking, I mean, like, or rather, moving forward, Trump's image also getting positive response, given that he has now mediated between two major wars over the past 3 months?
Trump has turned out to be an extremely controversial leader, as we all know, and his unpredictability, his manner of the way he comes across to the world is he's turned out to be more than an enigma. It's something that people are not able to place their hands on. In fact, Trump, this period when Trump is in power, is going to be talked about a lot in the years to come, because he has done so many things that he's a completely he's a muddled figure in some ways, and you
Mhm.
can't clearly say that he's what he's done is positive or what he's done is negative. It's a mixture of both, and on top of it, he wants to be a peacemaker, but then going and firing missiles into the US is hardly the role of a peacemaker. So you have, and then he declares ceasefire, so which means that then he's a peacemaker. So it's like a real muddle, a real he's a person who will be studied and referred to a lot in the years to come. Almost, I would even say that he competes with COVID. So he's that kind of a figure, and so what we are seeing him now is an action. So it'll be too simplistic to say anything about him right now, other than to say that he's a mixed bag. He's got a whole lot of things which nobody is used to, especially from coming from the position of the president of the United States.
Right, and the ceasefire also comes as a welcome point for India as well. Yesterday, there were reports that over 1,000 tons of basmati rice has been stalled at Gujarat's ports, with Iran as one of its biggest customers. So this news also will affect Indian markets as well.
I mean, India is, of course, it is going to benefit India, but it's going to benefit the entire world. There's going to be a huge sigh of relief, because
Yeah.
we are talking about the Middle East, and there were talks about the Hormuz Straits being blocked, and so it caused so much of consternation around the world that this one is going to be welcomed by everyone, and particularly India. India depends a lot on the Middle East for its various essential commodities. So it is definitely a good sign, and something that anyone would welcome this.
Right, Dakshin, thanks a lot for your thoughts. As Dakshin rightfully said, that it is a welcoming sign, not just for India, but for the entire world. That's all what we have for you in this special. Thanks a lot for joining us on this Israel-Iran conflict. And for all the news and updates, do watch the Federal and like, share, and subscribe to the channel.